Hello and welcome to VCC TV. This is Joseph Wright. In the past years, some of India's ultra-rich, including Ratan Tata, Narayana Murthy and Azim Premji, have been increasingly investing in India's alternative investment segment, including startups. They've been investing as angel investors and also through their family offices. Now, these family offices invest directly in startups or as LPs in private equity or venture capital firms. To understand their impact and the role that they're playing in the startup ecosystem, we have with us Aman Malik, Senior Assistant Editor.
Hey, Joseph.
You did a story last week on the state of family and offices. So what is the state of the family offices at present, and what amount of wealth have they been allocating in Indian startup communities?
See, the family office structures in India, the family offices in India are a very closely guarded secret. So we actually don't have too many numbers per se, barring what is available with our databases and all the rest of them. They're so closely guarded that there's no definitive number on how many family offices there actually are in India. The best guesstimate that some of the analysts that I spoke to told me was that there are about 110 to 115 family offices in India. That having been said, a lot of the wealthy elite also invest their money via what are called multi-family offices. These are basically investment firms that essentially cater to 10 or 15 or 20 or even 30 wealthy families depending on their size, and they look after their individual interests. On a benchmark basis, if you can benchmark it, although it's a very wild benchmark and a very crude benchmark, about a fifth of their total portfolio is getting into risky investments, either directly into startups or unlisted companies, or via the private equity funds. Essentially, these family office investing into a private equity fund, and the private equity fund itself investing into it. But increasingly what's happening is they're directly investing into companies. They're actually bypassing private equity funds because they can sort of do away with the fees and they don't have to pay any transaction charges, etc., in that case.
Also want to understand what are the various themes that these family offices are investing in, and whether they are complementing investments in by private equity and venture capital firms.
A lot of the investments remain technology companies. So for instance, the likes of Azim Premji and a few others, and even Ronnie Screwvala and Narayana Murthy have invested in companies like Lenskart, Urban Ladder, and companies like Ola, the taxi aggregator, a few companies like these. The Mariwalas of Marico have invested in startups like Healthcart. They've also invested monies in various other tech startups. But there are also non-tech companies into which these investments are going. Premji invests in, that is Azim Premji's family office, which is, I would assume, in fact, a lot of people said so, is the largest family office in the country, manages assets of well over $2 billion US. They invest into legacy companies like ICICI and a few others. Even the Mariwalas have invested into companies like the Beer Cafe and all, which is basically a chain of beer outlets. So it's a mix of healthy mix of companies that these people are investing into. I think what they're looking for, rather than just specific sectors, they're looking for growth potential. They are willing to take a risk, but they are also taking calculated risks. Some of their investments have also gone bad. Like for instance, Premji invests Snapdeal. They also had invested into Subiksha, which also went bust. So in a way, it's sort of a deja vu moment for them. But they're not putting all their eggs into one basket.
These family offices also come in as limited partners in private equity firms and venture capital firms. So do you think that they're going to complement PVCs in their investments going forward, or even as of now? Or do you think they're going to carve a niche for themselves as investors per se?
Actually, it's working both ways. So for instance, let's take the case of Mohandas Pai's son Pranav Pai. Mohandas Pai, as you know, was earlier on the board of Infosys. Pranav Pai runs a fund called 314. Now, as of now, and he insists that it's not a family office. We have written that very clearly in the story. And he also says that they manage some of their other family investments separately from 314. So what these people are doing is, a lot of them, and this is not just the case with Pranab Pai, even some of the others, they are not just investing via the well-known vehicle of a single family office. They're having a mix and match sort of an approach, wherein they are making some investments purely out of their own money, while they are also using their offices to manage external investors. And so effectively they're becoming, like you said, limited partners, or they're becoming private equity investors or venture capital investors themselves, along with other co-investors. So in a way this is also a risk hedging strategy, because you don't want to be the only investor investing in a particular business. So you co-invest along with people. Either you do it via a company that you manage, or you essentially give your money into another entity, which then pools in a lot of this money and manages. So there's no singular strategy, Joseph, that one can really talk about. But eventually what their goal is, largely what people told me was, family offices traditionally only want to preserve capital for the coming generations, etc., and also traditionally want to hand over a charge or the baton to they want to facilitate that handing over to future generations. In this case, like Rishabh Mariwala told me, they essentially are looking at a growth strategy rather than merely a preservation and handing over strategy, which is why they are essentially looking to invest into risky businesses, which when give them such handsome returns that their corpus can grow manyfold if their strategies essentially work out.
Thank you so much for those insights, Aman. So while family offices may be far and few in India, they're still playing a critical role in boosting the startup ecosystem. That's all we have in this edition of VCC TV. Thank you for watching.